The general shape of the repair section's now been pretty well finalised. I'll put tech screws in to get it into its final position. Now I've just scribed the section where I've got to put the step flange in. So it's still a little bit oversized under the panel here. So as I say, I've scribed the mark for the flange. I'll just triple check that before I trim the panel off, and then I'll put the flange in. Now once I put the flange in, there's probably still a little bit of tweaking to do to shape the flange, mainly around this area, so it'll have to be curved slightly, ever so slightly, but hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. Once I've got it to the stage where I think it's right, then I'll put some tech screws in to get the panel in the hopefully the final position. But I won't know that till I start screwing it up. But it's coming along. The shape is good. It's fitting fairly tight there. The curve is okay there. Because it's not tech screwed in, it's just sitting in a little bit at the top, so it will pull out when I've got the tech screw in. See, so the panel alignment on the door is as it should be. That's looking okay at this stage, but as I say, I'll go to the next step. I'll trim it, flange it, and then put the screws in place, and then see how the overall shape of the repair goes. I put the flange in the repair section, and I've now put the tech screws in. It's almost there. Just got a little bit of work to do on filing back the body itself. It's just a little bit tight on the edge of the flange, on the face of it here. Not much, a fraction of a millimetre. So I've got to just gently file that so it sits down just a little bit better. It's just sitting a bit above the repair section, so that'll be fixed when I just file that down. So that's almost there. What I'm also going to do is to add a little bit of metal to the bottom of the repair section, so I've got a better metal seal inside the door opening there. I just need a bit more metal to go back and to weld onto the probably the outer sill. Just got a bit of a gap there I need to close up, and I'll do that just by tigging a piece of metal in there. So apart from that, it's getting very close to being able to start the welding marathon and getting everything, all the outer sill and repair section end plate all welded in, but not quite there. As I say, just a little bit to close up. I don't want any gaps between the door opening and the inner sill panel there. So just a minor bit to do, but I might as well do it now. The repair section is now finished. I've made those final adjustments in the flange area there. It's now fitting nicely. So it's now time to start welding all of this together, starting with the end plate, the outer sill, and then this. So that's what I'm about to do. Fair bit of work to do on the sill in terms of all the plug weld holes. I haven't done those. I've actually done the plug weld holes on the on the end plate, so that's not so bad. So it's a case of pulling all this off and then starting afresh and start welding all this together. I've just sealed up the inside of the sills with the silver enamel, high zinc enamel, so that should be fine. Done the same on the inside of the outer sill. The edges where I'm welding, I've got weld through primer, zinc rich as well, so that should be fine. And I've also let's move that out of the way, put the silver zinc inside the panel there, inside the end, and also on the rear of the end plate, so that should all be a good rust preventative inside. So all of the plug weld holes have been drilled, and what I'm now about to do is to put everything together, hold it in with tech screws, do one final check on the area down here, and then start the welding process. The sill's all prepared now for welding. Got all the tech screws in, and what I'll be doing now is going along and doing the plug welds. The end plate is also tech screwed in, so that's ready to weld. The welding process is going to take quite some time. The plug welds, of course, cause a fair bit of heat because of the size of the weld. So I'll be spacing out the plugs when I go along, so it'll take a bit of time to do. All up, I think the bit over 110 welds to do. There's a few seam welds in there as well. Seam welds in around the jacking point, and also probably up on the ends here. So anyway, it's going to take quite some time, but I'll take it slowly, making sure I don't overheat the panels. Now it's taken me roughly 10 hours to weld this outer sill in place. That includes grinding back the welds. It's now done, and what I'm about to do now is just to put the repair section on. There's a few things I've got to do when I do that. I've also got to look at sealing up this area here. I haven't done that yet, but now the outer sill's in place, I can weld up the gaps in there, and I'll also weld up any gaps between the repair section and the sill on the B-pillar there, on the edge there. So I've got to do that as well. So it's getting closer to be all this section welded in place. Just a little bit more fiddling work to do in there, but that shouldn't take all that long. I've refinished the fitting of the repair section. The welding the outer sill has tightened up the fit, so I've just had to make some minor adjustments in and around here, so that wasn't a problem. I've also made sure the gaps are filled in around the doorway there. I've added a piece of metal up into the top there, so that's all done. At this stage I've put some zinc rich primer underneath. It's just drying off. It's a bit cool to dry off today, but it's just drying. I'll leave that for today, and tomorrow I'll come back and I'll put some zinc rich silver paint, particularly in around here and on the inner guard there, and also on the inside of the repair section. So I'll do that, then I'll tech screw it up and then start welding this piece in. Not as many welds, but it's one I've got to be careful with in terms of distortion, so it'll take some time, but I'll look forward to actually having that welded in place. It had been my intention to actually finish welding this up this month, but I've spent a lot more time making minor adjustments before I weld, which has held me up a bit, and also I've come down with a chest cold and it's in the southern hemisphere, of course. This is winter, and we've had some very unsettled wet and cooler weather, so sitting out here in the garage is not the best thing in the world, and with a cold it's even worse, so I'll not be welding this at the moment until I get a little bit better. But what I've been doing is just making sure that the weld line here on the flange is open enough to drop a stitch weld in. So it's been a lot of fine filing. I've also been fitting the this bottom valance here, and making sure I've got the joint right, so I've done that as well. All in all, it's come up very good. It's I think in terms of the two sides, this is one that has actually been a bit easier, even though it's been a lot longer to do, and that's probably because I had some experience on the other side and I know what I'm facing, so it's been no real challenge. It's just been a lot of time. I had intended that just to make a few little changes once I'd welded this in, and up around the top end here, because of where the sill's welded, but as it's turned out I've made a lot more minor changes along the flange line. So and I think I've spent about 6 hours working along here. So anyway, I've run out of time. I'll post the video and hopefully with a few days off I'll be a little bit better, and I'll come out and I'll start welding that up. So once that's welded, then I'll start finalizing the boot placement, boot floor placement. So it's coming along well.